Charlotte County, Florida, Sheriff Bill Prummell makes more excuses for his absolute failure as sheriff. Defund their tyranny now before it's too late. Sheriff addresses jail controversy with Presby Carlos Galarza staff writer PUNTA GORDA. On the day before his Republican Party primary contest, Charlotte County Sheriff Bill Prummell called a press conference to explain yet another embarrassing incident at the county jail. Prummell stood before TV cameras and reporters Monday to talk about the department's investigation into the treatment of one of the jail's inmates, 57-year-old Mark Allen Kopaszynski. The sheriff said his office received a complaint June 30 from friends of Kopaszynski alleging, among other things, that he had been coerced into eating his own feces in his cell. As a result of an administration inquiry launched July 5, and a subsequent internal affairs investigation initiated July 11, Prummell fired Corrections Deputy Michael Burnett on Friday. Although the internal investigations found no grounds on which to file criminal charges against Burnett, Prummell said the deputy's actions throughout the episode were inexcusable. A copy of the investigation report provided to The Sun over the weekend through a public records request offers details of what took place. The reports include statements from a half-dozen witnesses, including a nurse, corrections personnel and an inmate. The inmate who spoke to investigators said he saw guards take Kopaszynski into his cell. Kopaszynski began yelling something, said the witness, but added that he could not make out what he was saying. The inmate witness said he looked into the cell to see Kopaszynski spitting and washing his hands. He said Kopaszynski also asked for toilet paper. They were laughing like it was a big joke, the inmate witness said of the guards as they walked away from Kopaszynski's cell. According to the sheriff, video footage from cameras inside the cell and outside the cell shows that Burnett was the only deputy standing by the cell and looking when Kopaszynski put feces from his hand to his face. Michael Burnett was looking at that window and that it clearly shows him walking away from the cell laughing, Prummell said. That's not tolerated here. As I told him during his disciplinary hearing, the inmate population is solely here for our care, custody and control, and not for entertainment. He was dealt with. He's been fired. Pressed to explain why no one picked up on what was going on by watching the monitors, and why it took so long to find out about the incident, Prummell said that, too, is being addressed. There was some things that were said and there were other people within that pod, employees within that pod, who heard certain things, but they didn't act. That's going to be addressed. Prummell said other allegations contained in an email sent by Kopaszynski's friends, Patricia and Joel Boyd, were quickly addressed. The sheriff said Kopaszynski was not forced to be nude as alleged. He wasn't forced to be nude, but basically he was put in what's called a suicide suit, Prummell said. It's a thick heavy garment that's draped over the person that can't be used to hurt themselves. The normal garment that they're given when they're brought to the jail was taken from them and they are put in this protective garment. As for the lights being on all the time, Prummell said the light fixtures could not be dimmed in the infirmary because lighting is neat for the cameras to pick up what inmates are doing. Prummell also addressed the Boyds' concern that they could not see Kopaszynski on the visitation screen when they went to see him at the jail. As everybody knows, we have recently changed our video visitation, Prummell said. When the new camera was installed, it was installed on a slight angle. That angle basically faced the door lock and not the opening of the door where you can have that face-to-face visit. Prummell said that an adjustment was made to fix the problem and allow face-to-face viewing. He added that an adjustment also was made to the cameras in the infirmary cell block so that the lights can be dimmed, but still pick up what's going on within the cells. The Boyds are not sold on the explanations coming forth, and suspect that Kopaszynski's ill treatment might be connected to his former role as a confidential informant for the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. Kopaszynski was adjudicated guilty on drug charges in Charlotte County on July 22, 2013, and sentenced to 15 years in state prison. Upon seeking post-conviction relief to challenge his sentence, he was returned to the Charlotte County Jail in June. Asked during the press conference whether he was aware that Kopczynski worked as a confidential informant for his department, Prummell said, "I'm not going to talk about confidential informants." Patricia Boyd said she was promised a copy of the investigation, and she's looking forward to reading it in detail. Kopczynski was treated inhumanely in that jail, she said. "You don't treat an animal that way. You don't treat a terrorist that way." Email, galars@sun-herald.com